G'day trendsetters, Greg here from Fishplate Films and welcome back to the BNSf Birdwood Sub HO. Well, there you go, look. Now don't get too excited. Like everything I do, this isn't permanent. We've been talking about the S word for a while and finally I've bowed to pressure, trendsetters. And I've been looking for a long time, you know, I do a lot of things I don't tell you people. So I've seen on a lot of big club layouts, they put temporary scenery in so when they're building their main scenery, that when people come and have a look, it doesn't look like all plywood. So the old brown paper is a great idea. And you can see how it just wrinkles up, you give it a bit of a crease there. And I thought, I'll give that a go, just to keep you people happy. And what it does though, it gives you a really good idea, because I've got no idea, trendsetters, about scenery. So what I did, I thought this would be great, before I start getting crazy with plaster and having crap everywhere, this is really good because it's just, we'll show you in a minute how we've done it. It's pretty easy, just the old cardboard strips behind here. And I just did a bit of a thingy on the wall, you know, had no idea, really. I'm surprised at how well it turns out for a bit of brown paper. And we just give it a bit of a hit with a bit of green and brown spray paint, trendsetters. Yeah. But it's a really good idea because before you start getting into big scenery, for someone like me who's never done it, it gives you an idea of, you know, how high should I have this mountain here. We've got a retaining wall here. I was worried about how close that we can get to the track here, and of course this edge here, we'll have to do some trees or something there with that, but it really gives you a good idea because it's so easy. We just hot glued this down a little bit. I love my hot glue gun, trendsetters. I like it that much. Hang on. I went and bought a good one. I mean, you get them for, you know, $10, $15. This is $70, $60 in Australia. And it's electronically controlled. And a lot of them don't have a stand. You have to clip them and they fall over. This has got a stand, look. I like it. So, and it's really good. And it's got a little thin nozzle there. Anyway, enough of hot glue guns. Let's have a look at some scenery, trendsetters. Here we are, trendsetters, the Fishplate Films Work Caddy 2000 doing its stuff. Working on the layout there. James is doing some scenery. We're doing some cardboard. Yeah, doing some cardboard and more of our form work here. Got our strips there, and then we'll be going back and reinforcing them with some horizontal bits of cardboard. And then putting our paper down. This is a temporary, we're just getting an idea of what we're doing here. Got the hot glue gun, I'm loving the hot glue gun. Giddy up with the hot glue gun. And I'll tell you what, trendsetters, for a temporary thing, this brown paper is pretty darn good. James is doing some lovely work there. Lovely.
Much better. Start from the bottom, Greg. Start
from the bottom.
Work up.
Always start at the bottom. Unless she asks you to start somewhere else.
That's true.
Now here you can see the scene, you know, finished, as far as in a temporary way. And we put our tunnel portal in. That's just, again, made out of ply. And I haven't painted this one. I've painted a couple of others, but what it really does let you to do is think, okay, with this scene here, could we sweep it back, or should we have a hard rock face here or whatever? And coming down to the tunnel portal, this is one thing I was experimenting with. Normally, you know, you would bring your fascia up to the highest point and run your scenery to that one. I'm thinking, well, what about, sometimes you might want to see some of the hill here. So instead of taking the fascia right up to here, I just raise this up a little bit, and a bit of a mound there. And because there's the track to the dividers, the plant goes behind it. So if we had it flat, it would give it sort of a one sort of dimension. But because we put this little hill in here, and this was after I did the fascia, it gives this track a bit of a cutting to go through, which we didn't have before. So, you know, I can say, okay, I like that, and I can either do it with foam or plaster cloth. We'll get into the foam and plaster cloth in a minute. But this allowed me to try that and think what I like. Here's another example where the fascia is not as high as the scenery, and once again I was just going to put a little bit of a drop off down here, but then we've got some tracks here, and this helps give it more of a 3D sort of effect, and also gives it a bit more for this tunnel here, because otherwise it sort of looked like there's not enough room to put a tunnel. There's not enough hill there for a tunnel. So, you know, and then you can have a nice little bit of scenery here. Now, of course, you could always, I could have made this fascia come up more at the time. This is things you learn as trendsetters. This is the things you learn. But that'll be fine. That'll be okay. We might have to do something here. But we'll have a look at this tunnel portal and see if we get more down this area down here. Now, in this one, I actually made a tunnel portal and painted it. Just, you know, make it look a little bit better. But trendsetters, I bought gloss paint. What an idiot. So I'm trying to sort of sand it down and put some weathering powders on, but the weathering powders don't like gloss at all. So, you know, what a numpty. Unbelievable. Anyway, it's actually fitting here quite well. We've got a bit of paper just crinkled up down here, made a little bit of a mound here. So things like that, I really think these the cardboard strips and the paper over, and of course plaster cloth at the end, when you don't want to use, when the paper's, you know, you've got your idea with the paper. For areas like this, I think are really good. And if you don't want too much detail, now once the plaster cloth goes on here, I'll take this off, plaster cloth will go on, and then I'm going to experiment with some rock mouldings. But in some cases, if you wanted to put like a big ravine or something, you wouldn't do it here, but we'll have a look at another area. I don't think that the cardboard strips and the frame's the way to go. You can't get that detail in the plaster cloth. It doesn't give you that sort of, you can't build it as you go along. So I think for more flat areas like this, where you know I don't want to put a big chasm in or ledges or something, I think that's where this plaster cloth or paper and the frame is really good. But for bigger areas, I think probably putting in a whole lot of foam and carving the foam out, you can sort of do it as you go. So I think it's a good idea to be able to use both methods, trendsetters. Now this section here, I literally just got a pen and just did a squiggle on where I thought the mountain would go, and we changed it a little bit, but this is another little test here to see whether I put a rock wall here or we put a retaining wall. And this is just a bit of hardwood that I've cut and sort of temporarily glued in place there, but this could actually be painted up and be like a concrete retaining wall or something like that, and it works quite well because it's pretty close to the edge here and the scenery is higher. At the other end down here, the scenery is actually quite low, and we got away with, I think we got away with having the rock just at track level without having a retaining wall. So something you can do with the paper, and if you don't like it, you just rip it out, trendsetters. I think it's a great idea. And I'm actually quite happy with this, and tell me what you think, but we may even just go over this with plaster cloth. And why do I keep looking at the viewfinder? Because I can see myself in there. You think after all these years I know to look into the lens? Oh well, never mind. I might even actually just cover this with plaster cloth and have a go with a couple of rock moulds. I'm buying some rock moulds. I know, don't fall over, trendsetters. I know it's all a bit much for you to take in. But the trouble with doing this first, you know, you have to learn to be back from the track a little bit, because once you put your rock moulds on, Of course, they're going to come out a little bit further. So it's something you learn as you go along. But if I can do some really thin rock moulds here, so I'm going to try, we might be able to get away with it. But up around here, we'll see. We might just have to be plaster cloth straight down and a little bit some relief or whatever gouged into the plaster possibly. Now same thing in this section. We just literally, I just got a pen and drew a line through here. You can see some of the line through here with the old Nico pen, and we just put the frame in as you saw in the photos earlier. And we've got some interesting things here, you know, like even this sort of fold here, we just sort of crinkled that up and kept that there, and a couple here we folded over and just glued, but that's all this is. And so we'll probably end up either leaving this paper on here and covering with plaster cloth, or maybe taking the paper off. There's a couple of areas along here where we won't be able to fit, especially along here, a rock mould. But you know, you don't have to have rocks everywhere. There's a lot of places where the rock face is just sheer, and I've seen where you can do that with plaster cloth and a little bit of carving, so I'll have to give that a go. Okay, we're at the other side of the layout now, and this old masking tape's been here for, God, a couple of years probably. So what I'm going to do with this is replace this with plaster cloth with no webbing in the background. It's only a couple of inches high there. I'm pretty sure that'll be able to go that distance without any bracing. And I've probably got enough room here to put a few rock moulds along here. So this will be a good try for my thinner rock moulds before I try it over the other side over there. And then we've got another tunnel portal here. Once again, gloss paint. I'll just make these up quickly out of ply. Nothing flash. And we've got our strips up here, and this will be plaster cloth as well, and the same as down here. And we'll try for a few rock moulds on this side here. But of course, I think when you're doing something like this, it's sort of hard to gauge where everything's going to be with this framework like this. If you wanted to put a shelf in here or something, it's a bit hard to manufacture all these. Yes, you can put little uprights in there and do all sorts of stuff, but if you wanted to do something fancy, I think probably foam is better. But if you just want a nice gentle sort of hill that you can put a couple of rock moulds on, or just have a nice gentle slope, I think this cardboard's a really good idea with the plaster cloth over, because it's free, and you saw the results on the other side there from someone who doesn't know what they're doing at all. I'm quite surprised with it actually. So, and I hate to admit, it's slightly infectious, Trent says. Slightly infectious. So the next few weeks I've got some plaster cloth on order and some rock moulds. I know, don't fall over. And we'll be getting into that, and I'll be practicing my casting. Now I've seen some people in a situation like this where it's a curve, they'll put the mould on wet and bend it round. But I don't know about that, because if you want to get the rock moulds and link them together to make a continuous thing, you can't do it like that. So you have to break them off and then cut them so they fit like a stone wall. So we'll have a look at that and see how that goes. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far, and what a surprise, Trent says. Who'd have thunk it? Well, trendsetters, there you go. I hope you've picked yourself up off the floor and recovered. And but don't get too carried away. Remember, it's only temporary. But at least it's a start. It's a start, and I'm actually enjoying it. And as I said again, I can't believe how good this paper looks. But if only I can get the plaster to look as good as that, I'll be happy. Well, no, actually I won't be happy because I'm pretty happy as soon, and that's why I haven't done it, because I'm very fussy, trendsetters. So, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this very interesting and different BNSf Birdwood Subdivision layout update. And on the next one, we'll be doing plaster cloth and maybe some rock knolls, trendsetters, in, I'm going to say, a few weeks, maybe. We'll get into it and get you all interested, possibly. I know all you people can do so you go, well, it's taken him how many years to get this bloody stuff done? Unbelievable. But anyway, not to worry. It's looking good. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you much for your support and everything like that. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Hooroo for now. Bye-bye. How's it going past scenery, boys? Something to look at.